Have you ever felt that someone with whom you shared important moments simply disappeared from your life for no apparent reason? Do you wonder if they still think of you, if they remember you, if they ever intended to come back, but silence is their only answer? And here you are, searching for signs where there are none, trying to understand what happened. What's curious is that, even though that person seemingly chose to distance themselves, something inside you tells you that it's not so simple. You feel that somehow there's still something unresolved, as if that connection hasn't completely broken. Carl Jung, one of the greatest scholars of the human unconscious, taught us that nothing in our relationships is accidental. It's not a coincidence that you feel that bond with someone, just as it's not a coincidence that person doesn't reach out, even if deep inside they wish to. There are deep forces hidden in the unconscious that influence our relationships more than we imagine. Jung believed that our psyche is governed by internal processes that we often don't understand rationally. Emotions, fears, projections, and even the wounds we've accumulated since childhood play a fundamental role in the way we relate to others. When someone pulls away from you without a logical reason, when a person who seemed important suddenly cuts the connection without explanations, there's something more at play. And if you still feel that there's an energy between you, if their absence continues to weigh on your life, it's not just because you haven't been able to let go, but because on a deeper level, that person is still connected to you. Not through words or actions, but through the energy of the unresolved. Jung spoke of a phenomenon called projection, which explains why certain people enter our lives and why, even though they physically disappear, they continue to occupy space in our minds and emotions. When we experience an intense connection with someone, we are not only seeing the person themselves, but also the parts of ourselves that we project onto them. What we love in the other, what hurts us, what affects us, is often a reflection of aspects of our own psyche that we have not yet recognized. That's why when someone pulls away from us without apparent reason, without explanations, it could be because by being close to you, that person was forced to face parts of themselves they weren't ready to accept. Their distance may not have to do with you, but with what you represented in their life, with how your presence awakened something in their unconscious that they preferred to keep asleep. Perhaps without realizing it, you were a mirror for that person. Jung said that everything that irritates us about others leads us to an understanding of ourselves. But this also applies in the other direction. Sometimes being close to someone forces us to look at what we don't want to see in ourselves, and not everyone is ready to do that internal work. Imagine it this way. Inside each of us, there is a part that Jung called the shadow. It is everything that we repress, deny, or fear about ourselves. These are the fears, insecurities, hidden desires, past wounds that we prefer to ignore. But when someone enters our life and activates these parts of our psyche, the natural reaction of the ego is to run away, because facing the shadow requires courage, and not everyone is ready for that. If the person with whom you felt a deep connection disappeared, if they don't respond, if they show no signs of life, there are two possibilities. Either they are trying to avoid facing their own internal process, or it simply wasn't the connection you thought it was. In either case, the answer is not in waiting, not in asking yourself what you did wrong, not in analyzing every word, every message that didn't come. The answer is in looking inside yourself. Jung said that the unconscious speaks to us constantly, but it does so through symbols, sensations, dreams, and often through the people who enter and exit our lives. When someone pulls away without apparent reason, it is an opportunity to ask yourself, what is this showing me about myself? Perhaps that person represented a part of you that you have yet to heal. Maybe their absence is forcing you to look at a void you previously tried to fill with their presence. Maybe what you really need is not for that person to come back, but to understand what part of yourself you projected onto them. This is just the beginning of a journey into the depths of your unconscious. In the next part, I will explain how to discover the true meaning of that connection and what you can do to free yourself from the weight of the unresolved. Jung said that relationships are the most powerful mirrors of our unconscious. When we feel a strong bond with someone, it is not just a matter of chemistry or coincidence, but because that person reflects something within us. It may be a wound, an unexpressed desire, a part of our psyche that we have ignored for years. And when someone leaves us without explanation, when they distance themselves without apparent reason, the pain we feel does not come only from the absence of that person, but from the inner void that that relationship was covering. That is why many times, even though you try to forget, even though rationally you tell yourself it doesn't matter, you still feel the absence. You still wait for a message that never comes. It is because deep down, what you are seeking is not that person, but the part of yourself that got stuck in that connection. Jung explained this with the concept of individuation, the process in which we become whole beings by integrating all our parts, including those we have denied or projected onto others. If someone disappeared from your life without apparent reason, and you feel that there is still something unfinished, ask yourself, what part of myself did I give to that relationship? What void was it filling? Because when we expect someone to return, it is not just for the person themselves, but because deep within our being, we believe that their return would give us back something we feel we have lost. But that is an illusion. The unconscious leaves no loose ends. If that person is not in your life now, it is because consciously or unconsciously, they have already fulfilled their purpose on your path. And if you still feel their absence so strongly, it is because there is something within you that you need to see, something that person came to show you, and that you have not yet recognized. Perhaps it was a fear you were carrying inside, an insecurity, a wound you never closed. Or maybe it was a projection of what you wanted for yourself, but haven't allowed yourself to live. Jung said that when we are attracted to someone, it is often because that person represents a part of us that we have not developed. That's why love can be so intense, but also so painful when it ends. We are not just losing the person, we are losing the image we built of ourselves through them. If it hurts that someone hasn't contacted you, if you wonder why they haven't returned, instead of focusing on the outside, on what they did or didn't do, on what their silence means, look inside. Ask yourself, what was I looking for in that person that I haven't found in myself? Because when you understand this, something changes. It is no longer about waiting for a message, wondering if they miss you or if they will ever come back. It is about reclaiming the part of yourself that you felt you lost in that relationship. And this is where true liberation happens. When you integrate the lessons from that connection, when you take what that person came to show you and turn it into part of your growth, the weight disappears. You no longer feel the need to hold on. You no longer wait for the other to do something to ease your pain. You realize that the answer was always within you. The unconscious has mysterious ways of teaching us what we need to learn. Sometimes it does so through love, other times through pain, other times through silence. But it is always speaking to you, always guiding you toward a more complete version of yourself. If that person hasn't contacted you, even if deep down they desire it, it's because something deeper is at play. Perhaps their own internal process is preventing them from getting closer. Perhaps their unconscious is telling them they are not ready to face what you represent. But none of this is under your control. The only thing you can do is ask yourself what this experience means for you and how you can use it to grow. When you do this, when you allow yourself to see the lesson instead of holding on to the absence, something incredible happens. You stop waiting, you stop suffering from the silence, and instead you reclaim your own power. Because in the end, the real question is not why that person doesn't contact you. The real question is what their absence is showing you about yourself. When someone disappears from your life without explanations, the biggest mistake you can make is waiting for answers from the outside. Looking for signs in every little detail, analyzing every past interaction, reading between what was never said, is an ego trap, a way to avoid looking at what really matters, what is happening inside of you. Because what ties you to that person is not their absence, but what their presence meant in your story. Jung said that the unconscious always finds ways to manifest in our lives, and one of the most powerful ways is through relationships. Every person who enters your life is not there by chance. They represent something, awaken something, activate something within you. If that person still occupies space in your mind, it is because there is a message you have yet to understand. And here is where the importance of closing cycles comes in. Not from resignation or indifference, but from understanding what that connection really meant. Because if you don't do it, you will keep repeating the same story with different people. You will keep attracting the same type of relationships. You will keep feeling the same emptiness. Closing a cycle doesn't mean forgetting someone or pretending they never existed. It means recognizing what that person showed you about yourself, being grateful for the lesson, and freeing the energy that keeps you trapped in the past. The unconscious works through symbols and patterns. If you keep thinking about someone who is no longer in your life, if you keep waiting for a message that never comes, it's because your psyche is trying to show you something. Maybe it's an emotional dependency pattern you've repeated in other relationships. Maybe it's an abandonment wound you've never healed. Maybe it's a part of yourself that you gave to that person and now need to reclaim. The first step to freeing yourself is to stop seeing the story only on the surface. It's not about why that person isn't reaching out to you, but about what they represented in your life, what they awakened in you, what part of your shadow they activated. Because if you don't identify this, you will keep attracting the same situations disguised as different people. The second step is to integrate the lesson. It's not enough to understand it rationally. You must feel it, experience it, allow yourself to grieve if necessary. Many times we hold on to the hope that someone will come back because we avoid feeling the pain of their absence. But Jung taught us that only by facing what we avoid can we truly transform. When you accept the reality that the person is not here, when you stop waiting for their return and instead focus on what you need to heal within yourself, something shifts on a deep level. The energy that was once trapped in the past is released. You begin to reclaim your power, to see yourself more clearly, to understand that what you were looking for in the other person has always been within you. And then, without forcing it, without waiting for it, without seeking it, things begin to fall into place. But it is always speaking to you, always guiding you toward a more complete version of yourself. If that person hasn't contacted you, even if deep down they desire you, it's because there's something deeper at play. Maybe their own internal process is preventing them from approaching. Maybe their unconscious is telling them they are not yet ready to face what you represent. But none of this is under your control. The only thing you can do is ask yourself what this experience means for you and how you can use it to grow. When you do this, when you allow yourself to see the lesson instead of clinging to the absence, something incredible happens. You stop waiting, you stop suffering from the silence, and instead you reclaim your own power. Because in the end, the real question isn't why that person isn't contacting you. The real question is what their absence is showing you about yourself. When someone disappears from your life without explanations, the biggest mistake you can make is waiting for answers from the outside, searching for signs in every little detail, analyzing every past interaction, reading between what was never said. It's an ego trap, a way of avoiding looking at what really matters, what's happening inside of you. Because what ties you to that person is not their absence, but what their presence meant in your story. Jung said that the unconscious always finds ways to manifest itself in our lives. And one of the most powerful ways is through relationships. Every person who enters your life is not there by chance. They represent something, awaken something, activate something within you. If that person still occupies a space in your mind, it's because there's a message that you haven't yet understood. And here is where the importance of closing cycles comes in. Not from resignation or indifference, but from understanding what that connection truly meant. Because if you don't do it, you will continue repeating the same story with different people. You will keep attracting the same type of relationships. You will keep feeling the same emptiness. Closing a cycle doesn't mean forgetting someone or pretending they never existed. It means recognizing what that person showed you about yourself, thanking the lesson, and releasing the energy that keeps you trapped in the past. The unconscious works through symbols and patterns. If you keep thinking about someone who is no longer there, if you keep waiting for a message that doesn't come, it's because your psyche is trying to show you something. Maybe it's an emotional dependency pattern that you've repeated in other relationships. Maybe it's an abandonment wound that you've never healed. Maybe it's a part of yourself that you gave to that person and now need to reclaim. The first step to freeing yourself is to stop seeing the story only from the surface. It's not about why that person doesn't reach out to you, but about what they represented in your life, what they awakened in you, what part of your shadow they activated. Because if you don't identify this, you will continue attracting the same situations, disguised as different people. The second step is to integrate the lesson. It's not enough to understand it rationally. You must feel it, experience it, allow yourself to grieve if necessary. Often we cling to the hope that someone will return because we avoid feeling the pain of their absence. But Jung taught us that only by facing what we avoid can we truly transform ourselves. When you accept the reality that that person is no longer there, when you stop waiting for their return and instead focus on what you need to heal in yourself, something changes on a deep level. The energy that was once trapped in the past is released. You begin to reclaim your power, to see yourself more clearly, to understand that what you were looking for in the other person was always inside you. And then, without forcing it, without expecting it, without searching for it, things begin to rearrange themselves. That person may return, or you may find that you no longer need them. You may discover that what you thought was love was merely a projection of your own lack of self-love. You may, for the first time in a long time, feel peace. The unconscious leaves no unresolved matters. If you feel that something was left unfinished, it's not because you need answers from the other person, but because you still have something to discover within yourself. And when you finally do, when you integrate the lesson, when you stop searching outside for what you can only find inside, you will be free. This process doesn't happen overnight. It requires introspection, honesty, and courage to face what hurts. But once you do it, once you truly let go, you'll realize that you never lost anyone. You were just rediscovering yourself. And there, in that moment, in that new version of yourself, the right people begin to appear. Not from lack, not from need, but from a completely different vibration. Because you are no longer looking for someone to complete you. You are already whole. The unconscious is a vast and unknown universe, and often it's there where the answers our rational mind cannot comprehend are found. If you continue feeling the absence of someone, if their image appears in your thoughts without you calling it, if part of you is still waiting, even though you tell yourself it's over, then there's something deeper that you have yet to see. It's not about obsession or emotional weakness. It's about how the psyche works. Jung spoke of the concept of archetypes, universal patterns that influence our lives without us realizing it. Every significant relationship in our life activates an archetype, an energy that connects us to something greater than the simple interaction with another person. It could be the archetype of the lover, the healer, the teacher, the life partner. And when a relationship ends abruptly, that archetype remains active, continuing to vibrate within us, seeking resolution. That's why sometimes we feel that a story isn't over, even though on the physical level, there's no longer any contact. Because on the symbolic level, on the unconscious level, there is still energy in motion. The problem is that, many times, we don't know what to do with it. The first thing you need to understand is that your conscious mind has no control over the process of the unconscious. You can't force yourself to forget. You can't force yourself to stop feeling. But what you can do is give direction to that energy, channel it into something that helps you understand its purpose. Because every person who leaves a mark in your life does so for a reason. Maybe their function wasn't to stay, but to teach you something you needed to see. Maybe their absence isn't a punishment, but a call to look within yourself. Maybe the only way to let go isn't by waiting for the other person to return, but by realizing that it was never about the other. It was always about you. When someone moves away, our ego wants answers. We want to understand what happened. We want explanations. We want to close the story in a way that makes us feel at peace. But the unconscious doesn't work like that. It doesn't seek logic, it seeks transformation. And sometimes the only way the unconscious gets us to look inward is by taking away what we were holding on to. That's why instead of asking why that person isn't reaching out, ask yourself what their absence is trying to teach you. What emotions is it awakening in you? What patterns from your past is it repeating? Because often the pain we feel isn't for the person itself, but for what they represent in our story. If you feel like you can't let go, if you keep waiting for something that may never come, It's because there's a part of you that got trapped in that story. That person may return, or perhaps you no longer need them. You may discover that what you thought was love was just a projection of your own lack of self-love. Perhaps for the first time in a long while, you will feel peace. The unconscious doesn't leave matters unresolved. If you feel like something was left pending, it's not because you need answers from the other person, but because there is still something you need to discover within yourself. And when you finally do, when you integrate the lesson, when you stop looking outside for what you can only find inside, you will be free. This process doesn't happen overnight. It requires introspection, honesty, and the courage to face what hurts. But once you do, once you truly let go, you realize that you never lost anyone. You were just reconnecting with yourself. And then, in that moment, in this new version of yourself, the right people begin to appear. Not from scarcity, not from need, but from a completely different vibration, because you are no longer seeking someone to complete you. You are already complete. The unconscious is a vast and unknown universe, and often it is there that we find the answers that our rational mind can't comprehend. If you still feel the absence of someone, if their image appears in your thoughts without you calling it, if a part of you continues to wait even though you tell yourself it's over, then there is something deeper that you haven't yet seen. It's not obsession or emotional weakness. It's how the psyche works. Jung spoke about the concept of archetypes, universal patterns that influence our life without us realizing. Every significant relationship in our life activates an archetype, an energy that connects us to something greater than just the interaction with another person. It could be the archetype of the lover, the healer, the teacher, the life partner. And when a relationship ends abruptly, that archetype remains active, still vibrating within us, seeking resolution. That's why sometimes we feel that a story hasn't ended, even though on the physical plane, there's no contact. Because on the symbolic level, on the unconscious level, there is still energy in motion. The problem is that many times we don't know what to do with it. The first thing you need to understand is that your conscious mind has no control over the unconscious process. You can't force yourself to forget. You can't force yourself to stop feeling. But what you can do is give direction to that energy, channel it into something that helps you understand its purpose. Because every person who leaves a mark in your life does so for a reason. Maybe their purpose wasn't to stay, but to teach you something you needed to see. Maybe their absence isn't a punishment, but a call to look within yourself. Perhaps the only way to let go isn't by waiting for the other person to return, but by realizing it was never about the other person. It was always about you. When someone pulls away, our ego seeks answers. We want to understand what happened. We want explanations. We want to close the story in a way that brings us peace. But the unconscious doesn't work that way. It doesn't seek logic, it seeks transformation. And sometimes the only way the unconscious gets us to look inward is by taking away what we've been clinging to. That's why, instead of asking why that person isn't reaching out to you, ask yourself what their absence is trying to teach you. What emotions is it awakening in you? What patterns from your past is it repeating? Because many times the pain we feel isn't about the person themselves, but about what they represent in our story. If you feel like you can't let go, if you keep waiting for something that may never come, it's because a part of you is still trapped in that story. But you don't need the other person to free yourself. You don't need them to return to feel complete. What you need is to integrate the lesson, take the energy of that connection, and use it for your own growth. Because when you do that, when you stop seeking answers outside and begin to look within, something changes. The weight lightens, the anxiety dissolves, the need for control disappears. And it's in that state of surrender and understanding when you finally set yourself free, not because you've forgotten, but because you've understood. Not because the story ended the way you wanted, but because you no longer need it to end differently. Because now you understand that the real closure isn't given by the other person, it's given by you. In the moment you decide to stop waiting, in the moment you accept reality without resistance, in the moment you take what you've learned and move forward. And it's in that instant when the energy shifts. You don't need to cut ties forcefully. You don't need to block anyone. You don't need to impose on the universe how things should be. You only need to allow life to follow its course, trusting that everything that leaves your life does so because it has already fulfilled its purpose. And if at some point, for some reason, that person returns, it will no longer be from a place of need, no longer from a void, but from a new consciousness, from a place where you no longer expect anything, but where all good things are possible. Because true emotional freedom isn't about forgetting someone. It's remembering without pain, without anxiety, without attachment. It's being able to look back with gratitude and forward with the certainty that the best is yet to come. When you finally understand that the absence of someone is not a punishment, but a lesson, something changes within you. You stop living in waiting. You stop clinging to what was. You stop seeking reasons in a place where there are none. And instead, you reclaim your energy, your focus, your personal power. Jung taught us that the unconscious always finds ways to guide us towards our evolution. And many times, it does so through the people who come and go from our lives. Not all are meant to stay, but all have a purpose. And when you manage to look beyond the superficial story, when you understand what that connection came to show you, you let go, without resentment, without anxiety, without the need for external closure. Because true closure never comes from the other. It comes the moment you decide to stop seeking outside what you can only find within yourself. It comes when you take the experience and use it to grow. It comes when you understand that you didn't lose anyone, but found yourself. And then life moves on. You keep moving forward, you keep evolving, you keep attracting new experiences and people who vibrate on the same frequency as you. Because you no longer need anyone to complete you. You no longer seek someone to give you what was always inside you. And it's in that state of wholeness where all the good begins to come. If this message resonated with you, if at some point in your life you've gone through something similar, I want you to share it. You never know who it might help. You never know who might need to hear this right now. Leave me a comment and tell me which part of this message touched your heart the most. What lesson are you taking away from this reflection? Remember that every time you interact with this content, every time you comment, share, or subscribe, you help this message reach more people, helping more people find answers in times of confusion. So if you haven't done so yet, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Because in this space, we continue exploring the mysteries of the psyche, the lessons of the unconscious, and everything Carl Jung left us to better understand ourselves. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, everything you seek outside is actually already within you.